You're ready to film your subjects to make them the shining stars that they are. The only problem is they're shining a little too much. Now you may know what I'm talking about, and that's the shine that people get on their foreheads, cheeks, nose, or just on their face in general. It can look distracting, it can make somebody look nervous, and so how can we reduce or just remove this completely? Well, there's some ways we can do this in production and some ways we can do this in post-production. So let's go over production first. The first thing to do is take a shower or wash your face. Now, this is obviously something that not everyone can do. Obviously, from the comfort of your home, easy enough to jump in the shower, or if you're on your own space, easy enough to just rinse off your face real quick. But sometimes, depending on time, you may not be able to get that done, or you just may not have those things available. But it's something to consider. The second thing you do is use oil reducing sheets. Now these are sheets that can help reduce and remove the oil on the skin. So what you want to do is you just want to blotch on the skin itself. You don't want to rub it as it's going to mix in the oils in their face. You just want to lightly press, tap, blotch, boom, 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 go, and it will help remove some of that excess oil. Now again, it won't remove it completely, but it will help reduce it and make it look just a little bit better. Now the third thing that we can do in production is to use makeup. And you don't need a makeup artist to do this. It's something that you can do yourself. It's just simple enough. You want to grab a translucent matte powder that's in the tone of your subject. You want something without shimmer so it doesn't add to the shine. So once you have the powder, you'll want to use a sponge or a soft puff to then apply the makeup onto the talent's face. Now something you want to do is you want to make sure you're avoiding rubbing it onto the talent's face. You just want to gradually blotch it on and then smooth it in so that way it feathers out and it feels like it just connects with the whole thing. Now the biggest thing is you don't want to overdo it. You just want to find that right amount that helps clean it up. Another thing to make sure is that you do not get excess makeup on their clothes. So if they have a suit jacket, a nice shirt, tie, take all that stuff off, use the undershirt, or just use paper towels to just kind of cover so that way then excess makeup doesn't get on. So that's why when you're grabbing the makeup, don't just bop, 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 throw it on there. Just put a little, do it. If you need more, go back and do it again. Now that we're done with production, let's get into post-production. So we're in Adobe Premiere, and so we've got our clip. We can see I'm a little bit of shiny, and so we need to minimize that. Now, the first thing we can think about doing is going to our Limit Your Color tab and knocking down our highlights. And by doing that, we'll knock down the brightness. The only problem is it does it for the whole image. So something we can do is we can go to our Effects tab, type in Lumetri Color, and then grab it, bring it onto our clip, and then we can create a mask to then just affect the area we want to touch up, which is the forehead. So we can come here, then to our Limit Your Color, bring down the highlights. Now obviously if we bring it down too drastically, it's going to be very noticeable, a little too obvious. Even if we do feather it, it's still going to look weird. So we can't go that drastic, but we can find a point where we like it, maybe adjust the color a little bit to bring back a little of that color, and boom, now it is dropped the exposure of my head a little bit, the shine. Now, I know that's not perfect, but it is an option. So, something else that we can do is we can take this clip and bring it into After Effects. Now, this is something I did a long time ago with a client where it was like the air conditioner was broken, they were all sweating, we had no makeup, and the producer of the thing, or the client was like, this is totally acceptable. How are you going to fix this? And I was like, oh, God. Oh, golly gee. And I found this tutorial that spoke on Photoshop. And so obviously Photoshop, totally different tool for photos, not for video. But there was some elements that I thought that would be beneficial to incorporate into that. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. So something that's a lot easier to do in After Effects opposed to Premiere is what we'll do is we'll come here. So something that we'll do is we'll create a new solid. So we'll go Layer, New, Solid, or you can click Control-Y. We'll click the color picker tool and we're going to get close to where the shine is close to my face color. So we can get as close to my skin tone as we can. And we can just name this skin, forehead, tomato. Perfect. So now obviously it's full thing, so we'll go ahead and mute it. Over here, we'll zoom in a little bit. Oh gosh, look at a beautiful boy I am. And so what we can do is we can grab the pen tool or hit G on our keyboard, and then we can create a mask kind of going around where the shine is. Oops, let's close that. Perfect. Now once we got that, we can then bring back our layer and it looks horrible. So something we'll need to do is to go onto our skin layer. We can either hit F or do the drop down menu to get to the mask tool and increase the feather. So that way then it feels a little bit more natural. Now if it goes too much in the hair, you can just bring back the mask a little bit so it's not as drastic. And we'll just kind of play with it there. Boom. Okay, perfect. So obviously one thing is we can see a big improvement. It definitely has cleaned up my face. Now, the only issue is it could seem too flawless, as if we don't see any imperfections on me. So if we can't feather that much, and let's say we need to drop it down a little bit because we're going too much to my hair, we're going to see it's a noticeable point where there's no definition. It's just the solid color. So we can go ahead and click our T tool or do the drop down to go to opacity, and we can drop down the opacity a little bit. So we'll still get a little bit of that shine, but it'll be a lot more minimized compared to what we had before. And so it looks really nice. Now, the only thing is something you'll have to realize is obviously if we play this clip, okay, so I actually don't move very often in this clip, but if your subject does move a lot, then you're going to have a problem where, let's say they move over here and your little skin is just floating off in the middle of nowhere. So something you'll have to do is possibly track your subject. Now in this case we don't have to, but if you do, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create layer, new, null object. We'll come back to our video. We'll click track motion. Boom, it's going to create a track point for us. If we need to check rotation scale, we'll check those out and then we'll create a second track point that we'll choose, and we'll just choose something that we can see the whole time. We'll just go my eye, boom. Make sure it's the null, play it forward, it will track it. Maybe the eye isn't the best because I just realized I moved my eye pretty drastically. My head was not drastic. Maybe do it to the nose, but but you get what I'm saying. The general layout is there. Once we get that, we'll apply it, boom, love it. And then we can take that skin layer, just make sure you go back to the beginning, take it and drop it to our, to our null object, and it will follow me and it'll be good. So obviously if it's a very complex movement, you're moving around a lot, it could be a little bit more challenging, but if you're just a talking head, it's not going to be too crazy. Perfect. And that is one way to reduce the shine on your subject and kind of clean up their face a little bit. So now the last thing we can do is more of a paid option. It's this plugin called Beauty Box, because it makes you beautiful. Now I got this because I had some clients that were saying, hey, make me like 20 years younger. And I didn't know how to do that. So I got this plugin from Digital Anarchy. I like it. It works well. But it's one of those things that you just want to fine tune it, because the more you go into it, the more it's going to really just make somebody look like that uncanny valley. So we'll go back to our main layer. If you do have the plugin, you'll drop it on Beauty Box. We'll see all, hold on, wait a second. We'll see all these options. Now this is for smoothing skin. That's not something I really care too much about because I'm already beautiful as it is. I've got beautifully smooth skin. Don't tell me otherwise. Just to go into this, we could kind of touch in, touch off. You can kind of see a little bit of difference is doing. That's not the main thing we're talking about. What I'm talking about is they do have, you go all the way down, they do have shine removal down here. So we can click down here and we can see how far we can increase it. So we can increase it up to 100 and we can really see the difference of how it's reducing that shine. So I think it's something that does look pretty natural, and also it's going to smooth out your skin as well, which is, you know, that's a benefit too. So again, the Beauty Box is going to be a paid plugin. It's something that's going to be easier, I guess, if you're doing something that's a little bit more complex. But if you're just doing regular old talking head stuff, you can easily create a solid layer and just smack that on your face. So that's how you can reduce or remove your shine in production and post-production. So I always think getting it out of the way in production is going to be the best method, is using makeup, cleaning your face, wiping it down, using oil removers are going to be your best options. But just in case you don't have those available and you need a quick fix, you can still adjust it in post-production. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below, and we'll see you next time, hopefully, potentially. All right.